Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Padilla and commissioners. Para ustedes que hablan español, buenas tardes. My name is Steve Marion. I had the privilege to teach and coach in Long Beach for 36 years, and I'm an active member of the Surfrider Foundation. I would very much like to see the Belmont Plaza Pool Complex rebuilt and utilized by all the children in the city of Long Beach. The entire Long Beach community needs it. However, no pool should be built in the sand. Rebuilding the Belmont Plaza pool in its old location would be wrong, would not service the people who need it most, would amount to nothing less than environmental injustice rather than justice, and would drastically shorten its usable life. There are many safer, less expensive, and more accessible locations where all community members and visitors would much more greatly benefit from the pool complex. You might hear many promises that the city will provide scholarships to underprivileged children and create new forms of transportation for people to get to the pool. However, these are likely to be short-lived if they happen at all. And let's be real, there is no real plan in place. Eventually, business will return to normal as it was in the past. We have seen it before. The few and the privileged will benefit at the expense of many who receive no benefit. Putting the pool back where it was before the existence of the Coastal Commission, before an understanding of sea level rise hazards, and before modern day construction standards will simply further continue dividing Long Beach between the financial classes, the haves and have-nots, and take away a beautiful stretch of sand that benefits all. Other locations are safer, much easier to build, thus less expensive to build, and have greater accessibility to underserved areas. City staff should stop kowtowing to the more affluent few and start advocating for all Long Beach people, especially the underserved. One great location, which is equally iconic, if you will allow me, would be the southeast corner of the Long Beach Convention Center. It is known as the Elephant Parking Lot for a reason. It is underused. Please rebuild in another more suitable, accessible, and safer location. Thank you very much for your time, your expertise, and your consideration. And thank you for permitting me to speak on behalf of citizens across all Long Beach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mandy Sackett, followed by John Neighbor, followed by Mel Nutter. Mandy Sackett, it is now your turn to speak. You may unmute yourself and start your camera if you wish to do so.
Hi, Mandy Sackett. I am speaking on behalf of the Surfrider Foundation. Surfrider issued an action alert asking for project denial that gained 116 signatures from local residents. That letter is included on page 293 of the correspondence, although the correspondence does not reflect the most accurate recent total signatures. Next slide, please. Times have changed since 1968 when the Belmont pool was located on the beach. Beach access and vistas are now protected by the Coastal Act, and sea level rise poses serious threats to the site and the surrounding area. Page 39 of the Coastal Commission's own sea level rise guidance document states that the strongest approach for complying with Section 30253 of the Coastal Act is to avoid siting new development within areas vulnerable to flooding, inundation, and erosion. And yet the staff recommendation at Capistrano Shores yesterday and the recommendation for the Belmont pool today conflicts with staff's own policy guidance. How can we expect local governments to adopt these policies if the own commission does not? Next slide, please. The groomed beach space here would be occupied by the new Aquatic Center. The beach space is part of the public trust, and building an $85 million aquatic center that will by and large benefit the affluent citizens of Long Beach is unjust and an unjust use of public resources. With that in mind, will staff really be willing to deny an emergency armoring permit one day when the structure is threatened? Will the structure itself operate as a seawall? If so, the condition against shoreline protective devices is meaningless. If staff and the commission don't say no now, how will you require the city to actually demolish this $85 million facility once sea levels rise? We cannot and shall not kick this can down the road. The reasons for denial are numerous. The site may be subject to liquefaction, and groundwater rise is not yet incorporated into Cosmos modeling and therefore not incorporated into the analysis. The site does not conform with hazard setback requirements. There's insufficient parking. Funding is not in place to build this pool. It will be an enormous burden for the city's low-income communities and those who will be least able to access it. And finally, locating this pool will perpetuate a maladaptive pattern of development that prevents future restoration of natural coastal processes, wave action, and surf to Long Beach. Long Beach used to be the Waikiki of the West, and we hope in the future to restore this vision of a thriving coastline with surf without a breakwall. And further, fixing development this far seaward is going to ensure coastal squeeze as sea levels rise, reducing the sandy beach area where public can recreate at this site and further impacting public trust resources. To summarize, nobody opposes building a new pool. The beach is clearly the wrong place.
Thank you, ma'am.